Hi everybody, and welcome to the January Q&A video here on the Web Designer 18 YouTube channel. I'm Andrew Rhodes. It's been a, quiet month here. I haven't put up a lot of videos, and there'll be a video explaining why, trust me. But anyway, this monthly Q&A, I have 10 questions, so it's going to be kind of a shorter Q&A video, but it's still a Q&A. Doesn't matter. It's all that matters is that I have fun, right? For the time being. But anyway, I got 10 questions, so let's get started, shall we? So question 1 is, here we go. Don't you just hate how people promote Groundhog Day as the day that people will see an early spring or 6 more weeks of winter, despite the fact that the weather changes every single day? You want to know the reason why I hate Groundhog's Day? It's actually a very good reason. I hate Groundhog's Day because Groundhog's Day is a bullshit holiday. Now, I live in Pennsylvania. And for those of you that live in Pennsylvania, you obviously have heard of the place called Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. You know, Punxsutawney Phil. The fucking groundhog. Yeah, that asshole, that thing. Well, that groundhog pops its head out of the ground, and whether or not it wets its pants or not at the sight of its shadow doesn't matter. In the long run, there is still 6 weeks left of winter, regardless of whether or not it sees its shadow or it doesn't. And what pisses me off is that a lot of people go, oh, well, it's going to be an early spring, he didn't see his shadow, or, oh, God, he saw his shadow, 6 more weeks of winter. It doesn't matter. It's 6 weeks either way. And people just automatically assume that the groundhog is, the master of fortune telling. It can instantly tell you the weather. It's like a god-tier meteorologist, and it's not. I hate Groundhog's Day. I'm like Bill Murray's character in Groundhog's Day. I hate Groundhog's Day, and I hate it for a passion. When I was in school, we always had to do little projects on Groundhog's Day, or we had a little celebratory thing for Groundhog Day. And I know my PA local history class, when I was a senior in high school, we got donuts because it also fell on Donut Day, or Fat Tuesday. So that kind of was a nice little treat. Well, yeah, it sort of was a nice treat because the teacher gave us donuts regardless, but either way I was happy. But we got donuts. It was Foss nuts, so it's a Pennsylvania thing. Though you might be able to get them out of the state, I don't know. But so for those of you that live in Pennsylvania, or you know someone that lives in Pennsylvania, you obviously know Punxsutawney Phil, and how much... there are a lot of residents that royally can't stand him, but the people in Punxsutawney, PA, they love and adore the thing because, it's a tourist attraction. That's literally all it is. It's a tourist trap. And it is a tourist trap in... I'm really gonna hate to say it this way, but in the backwoods of nothing. It's a tourist trap. I do not like Punxsutawney Phil. I'm not a fan of Groundhog Day. I hate the damn day. It's 24 hours. I wish would go by that much faster. It sucks. I hate that. But yeah, the weather changes every single day, but some days it could be sunny for like a week. The temperature changes, the humidity changes, the wind changes, the dew point changes. There are small, inconsistent changes with the weather. It's not a solid, this day it's sunny, this day it's rainy, this day it's cloudy, this day it's bright. It changes by the day, but it changes in small micro amounts. Like it could be partly cloudy, or scattered clouds, stuff like that. Sorry, I had to burp a little bit. But yeah, the weather changes every single day, but it's in minute amounts. And believe me, for somebody that lives in Pennsylvania, I actually did have to study meteorology for like a grade in school. We actually had like a club the one time that was a meteorology club. We studied the weather half a dozen times. And if you were a kid growing up where I did, you prayed for snow days. You were praying for them. So it's like, for me, it's like, okay, is it going to happen? Are we getting a snow day? Is it going to split across our county and not affect us? Which happened more times than I care to admit. I was pissed when that happens. Like, it went to the north and the south, but it missed us entirely. Or it just missed us entirely, or it didn't do anything. It went too far north, too far south, and we didn't get anything of it, or we just got like the small edge of it, and So you quickly learned meteorology, at least enough to somewhat estimate a prediction for the weather where I live, because it pretty much does depend upon it. And now that I get older, it's like, oh yeah, with my job, well, is it gonna snow? Is it gonna give ice? Is it gonna hail? Is it gonna sleet? Are we gonna have a twister? I don't fucking know. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole ordeal. But I hate Groundhog's Day. I hate that holiday with a passion. I hate it. Next question, another Groundhog related one too. Fun. How would you think that the groundhog would react to the world when he comes out in February? Honestly, I don't care. The groundhog will come out, see all of its adoring fans or a buttload of cameras for people to view it at home, and wet its pants like it always does, and then look down, get scared, or smile, go back into its fucking little hole. It doesn't even come out of its hole either. Let me stress this, because again, lives in Pennsylvania, kind of knows this. It doesn't even come out of its hole. They pull it out of its hole. They pull the groundhog out. So they're basically forcing that little bastard to come out and go, hey, is it going to be sunny sooner or is it going to be colder longer? Puxatani, tell us, Phil. Who cares? It's 6 weeks of winter either way. But honestly, as far as what the groundhog's going to react to the world, the groundhog doesn't give a rat's ass about the world. It honestly doesn't. Its entire world consists of eating, sleeping, and pooping. That's it. It wakes up, gotta get something to eat. Gotta get something to eat. Don't get eaten by predators. Gotta get something to eat. Don't get hit by a car. Don't get hit by that SUV. Oh, look, there's a Mack truck coming down the street. Better avoid that. Gotta get something to eat. Oop, gotta take a shit. That's its entire life. Eventually, it'll spawn into, ooh, gotta start a family. And stuff like that. So, no, the groundhog doesn't give a rat's ass about our world in general, as opposed to its own little world. And its own little world is what it cares about. With the animal's sixth sense that they can sense danger before us, yeah, at some point it'll go, oh, well, something bad's going to happen. Well, time for me to pack up and leave home. And plus, I don't even know, I know that they keep, because no groundhogs could be alive this damn long. That has to be like a 5th or 6th generation. Well, first of all, I think it's a fake groundhog that they pulled out the one year, and I think people kind of caught on. But I know that they kind of have, like, I don't even think it's an actual groundhog that lives in that exact spot. I think it's one that they have in a cage that they just reach in and pull out. Because I live in Pennsylvania, okay? I live here. Let me tell you a little story about groundhogs. They run at the slightest sound. They take off like a bat out of hell. It is an instinct of theirs. They hear a predator coming. Oh shit, I gotta run. They hear a twig crack. They hear a step. They hear stones crunch off in the distance. They are batting it like a bat out of hell. Yeah, trust me. They see a hand coming down, unless they're cornered, they ain't getting out. And if they're cornered, they're going to start scratching and clawing. So that's a trained groundhog for starters. It's got to be. And anybody that, I want to stress this point here, because first off, this is just a gigantic hoax, but everybody enjoys it. I'm not going to shit on everybody's parade, but I'm not a fan of this one particular custom. Groundhog's Day sucks, and anybody out there that actually believes it, I have a very lovely palace in Florida to sell you. It's beautiful. It has a crescent shape on the door. You're going to love it. If you figured out what that is, you get the joke. But no, the groundhog isn't going to give a rat's ass about what the world's going through right now. It's not going to care. Its entire purpose and thoughts in life are food, shitting, eating, reproducing. That's literally it. That's it. Question number 3. What do you think will actually happen in the year 2021? I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't got a damn clue. I know it's probably going to be happening with me, but as far as the rest of the world, I don't know. I mean, I kind of have an idea what's going to happen with me in the long run, but I don't know everything entirely. I'm not the all-seeing, all-knowing guru, so I know a lot of people are out there thinking, okay, he's going to say the magic words that, okay, it's going to be. No, I don't know anything that's going to happen. Here's the news flash for you, and I've said it multiple times. Time branches off in multiple directions. And a perfect example of this is if you ever just lay yourself, like your torso onto a tree trunk. Tilt your head up like this and look straight up. You will see how the branches break off in different directions. That middle line, the tree trunk, is your timeline. Those branches are possible routes you could take. Any one of those can easily go up this way and double back down. They can branch off to create whole new timelines, whole new experiences. Something that you didn't think was possible to happen could suddenly happen. We could be invaded by the Vulcans, for all I know. The Klingons could finally come out of the woodwork and come after us. Damned if I know what could possibly happen in this year. Sorry, I had something popped up on my screen. Or, I have no idea what could happen this year. Nobody does. And anybody that says they know what's going to happen this year is full of it. Because there are way too many unknown variables. First off, it's only January. So if you're instantly telling me something that's going to happen up until December, either A, you have a crystal ball, B, you have a TARDIS, you've traveled to the future, which, in that point, telling me anything will instantly change said future, or C, you're making it up. And being a person that's studied time travel in a way, and kind of has a general grasp of how time travel sort of works, but nobody believes him because, of course, time travel is not possible, Andrew. Yeah, whatever. Believe me when I say the following, you're full of it. Nobody out there knows what's going to happen completely. We can take potshot estimations, we can take good guesses and estimate predictions, but we cannot 100% tell the future. If we could, there would be no need for a lottery system. There would be no need for there would be no need for anything. You would know every single movie before it ever comes out. You would know from start to finish a book that's just getting released. You would know how good a video game is before it even hits the store shelves if we knew how the future worked and if it worked on a daily basis. It doesn't work like that. So I have no idea what's going to happen in 2021. So there is that. Have you ever been extremely mad about a certain show that either didn't get a satisfying ending or got shafted because of a cash cow of a program that has been hated for a while? Well, Hey Arnold never actually got a satisfying conclusion because everybody hated the Jungle Movie, apparently. I only saw clips from the Jungle Movie. I haven't been able to watch it entirely, so that sucks. For starters. But I would say Hey Arnold because we all know why that got canceled. Was the better off SpongeBob's reign. But I know I can give you one that definitely got an unsatisfying ending for me and a lot of other fans, by the way, because I'm not alone in this one. Reboot. It was that CGI show that started back in the 90s and it ended in the early 2000s. Reboot was a really good show. It basically took place in a computer. The system was called Mainframe. And you basically were introduced to Guardian Bob, who's a Guardian program to mend and defend. He basically protects the system from viruses, tears, stuff like that. So basically anything that could possibly go wrong with your computer could happen in this show. They would, like when you, the user, would play a video game, you're dropping it into their world. If you beat them, you're destroying that small sector that they lived in and nullifying everybody there. That was how the game played out. The games were like the ultimate, like decisive plan. So like if you got your ass whooped by the AI, that was the mainframers that were kicking your ass and taking names, or whatever other system there were if you're connected to the net. It had 3 good seasons, 1 piss poor abomination of a season, which I will get into in a moment. Season 1 and 2 were really good. Season 2 was actually one of my favorites because we had the giant robot fight. In the one episode, it was called Nullzilla. I love that episode because we got this giant-ass robot that looked so freaking stupid that it was just really funny. Then we had where I kind of came in, and this is honestly where I came in on Reboot, was Web Wars. And Web Wars was when a virus that came out of Hexadecimal's looking glass infected her and Megabyte, forming them, or causing them to both fuse together then to form Gigabyte. Gigabyte royally beating everybody's ass to the ground. Bob, being the last hope they had Glitch, his little AI tool, split them into the three parts, into hexadecimal, Megabyte, and this virus. And the web creature virus kind of just scattered off somewhere in the mainframe. He couldn't find it. And when he finally found it, it was attacking Dot. It was sucking a lot of mainframers' power. And when it got loose, it tried opening up a portal to the net. And we all of a sudden got the Web Wars, where Megabyte's team of villainous AI from his sector, which I forget which it is right now, and the mainframers had to join forces to try to stop it. And that led into Season 3 because Megabyte double-crossed everybody, shot Bob into the net, destroyed the portal, and left Mainframe basically defenseless except for Enzo, who Bob had promoted to Guardian Class 1 in hopes to send him off to the supercomputer for proper training, which he was hoping he would be able to do. I don't know if he did it out of, oh, here, I feel sorry for you, let me make you look cool in front of Andrea, or, hey, you know what, you've kind of earned this. And I think it was he kind of earned it, mostly from how he acted in the last, I want to say, few episodes leading up to it. So there is that. Then you have Season 3, which was really cool, where you have it in two halves. The first half dealing with the aftermath of Bob being shot into the net, Mainframe being basically under siege by Megabyte, Fong and the rest of the mainframers are taking hold up in the principal office, and they're trying their damnedest to repel Megabyte and keep him at bay, which ultimately failed because Enzo, who was the Guardian at the time, couldn't use Glitch because it was damaged beyond repair, and all it could do was give you game stats anymore, nothing more. Then you had the whole, he's trying to be both the Guardian and the actual defender of Mainframe. Him and Andrea tried going into a game in the first episode, but Mouse, a character that travels the world, she's a hacker, she travels throughout the net, she stopped Andrea because Andrea was still a game sprite. She couldn't go into the game without coming out of the game in one piece. She would be stuck with the game. And she did come out of the game she was in by putting a backup copy onto Enzo's icon. So that was actually a pretty cool idea. So that went on for a few episodes. Then Enzo ended up losing in a Mortal Kombat style game, which was really cool. But he lost, and everybody thought he was nullified. But him, Andrea, and Frisket changed their icons into game sprite mode so they could travel with the game. They just game hopped from system to system to system until they could find a way back to Mainframe. They ended up finding a way back to Mainframe after winding up in a town that had access to the internet, and there they ran into one of my favorite characters in this show, the captain of the Crimson Binome, Captain Capacitor, and it's the Crimson Binome basically, and his ship was the Saucy Mare, and oh my god, I love that. He was like the best character in that show, and he played a really prominent role throughout the rest of the season, going into the end of it. He helped them get back to Mainframe. He sacrificed the Saucy Mayor to buy them time to draw Megabyte's attention so that he wouldn't realize that they were there. And him and the rest of the pirates just helped them in the battle to take back Mainframe, which is a really cool thing. Look up I know it's still out there on the net. There's actually a song that they did at the end of Season 3. It was called End Program. There was a song, Alphanumeric. It was really cool. If you watch that gives you a whole recap of Season 3, and it was actually a really good season to watch. Then you got into Season 4, and I'm not going to lie, Season 4 had potential, but not good potential. And this is the main reason. I know this is like a long-winded answer, but I loved Reboot. I want to explain why I'm pissed about this. So Seasons 1, 2, and 3 built up this amazing world of characters that you just love. And then Season 4 comes out. It was too... I still swear they were made for TV movies. That's exactly what they were. I've been told multiple times that, no, these were actually little mini-series. Fine, I don't care. However you want to spin it, either way, both of them sucked. You had Damon Rising and My Two Bobs, and I hated both of them. Damon Rising, because it was literally there to finish up a story plot that was given to us by one of the Guardians that Enzo had met when he was going by Matrix, and when him and Andrea and Frisk were game hopping. He found, I forget what the guy's name was off the top of my head, but he ran into him in town, and he was like, okay. He goes, well, I thought I was Bob. I was hoping to talk with Bob, but it's not Bob, it's you. And then he looked at Enzo and said, you would have made a fine cadet. I'm really sorry we couldn't upload you to the supercomputer. But he was kind of happy that Enzo wasn't uploaded because Enzo wasn't infected by the virus from the super virus Damon. And that was sort of the plot hole that we were given that was never concluded on in season 3. Personally, they could have just did that as a made-for-TV movie. I would have been successfully happy with that and wrapped up the series with that. Hook, line, sucker, make it perfect. But, and I do want to stress the but here, they decided to take it one step further and give us 2 Bobs. After Bob, who had merged with Glitch, decided to try to unmerge himself, it failed miserably because another Bob had showed up, and this is a really good part. So the other Bob shows up, and all hell's breaking loose because this Bob's going to marry Dot, and original Bob wants to marry Dot. Only, it's not going to happen because it turns out Bob number 2 is actually Megabyte in disguise, who gained Trojan Horse abilities while out on the net. And after our Bob, the original one, separated himself from Glitch, Glitch went on to Megabyte, got the piece of code from Megabyte that he had stolen from Bob, and returned to Bob, the actual one, and goes, okay, now we're good. All for Megabyte to finally reveal himself, heavily damaged, worn, beaten out. Looks like the web really whooped his ass and took names. And he was basically this horrific creature that now had the ability to change into other mainframers just by touching them and absorbing their energy. So this all led up to the final episode of the series, which ends on a cliffhanger of Megabyte going, this is usually the part where I will talk about blah, 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 Mega Frame and all this other stuff, but I've grown beyond this. I'm the predator, you're the prey. It's time for the hunt, with basically Dot is running for her life with, I think she was with one of the other characters. Enzo was captured by his father, who was a null that's now part of the small exo armor that's being controlled by Megabyte. Mouse and Andrea are trying to get into the main central hub of the principal office to save everything. Matrix and Bob are headed there to try to stop this in the long run. And it ends on a cliffhanger, and that's literally where Season 4 ended, and the series along with it. And I was with a lot of fans when I was like, I was pissed off at that ending, I hated that ending, and I still do. And then you have Reboot the Guardian Code, which did not help appease any of us, pissed more of us off, and basically gave the middle finger to every single fan. And the ironic part was it was made by the same studio that originally made Reboot. Now, granted, you couldn't have Megabyte come back because Tony J passed away, and that was the voice of Megabyte, but honestly, I did make this point once or twice that because Megabyte was corrupted out on the net, you could have easily, granted it wouldn't have been the same and fans would have had to have gotten used to it, but with Tony J passing, it honestly was an easy to fix issue. Just get a different voice for Megabyte and have it be that because he was corrupted out on the net, his voice was altered dramatically because of that. You could have had Ron Perlman voice him. I think Ron Perlman probably would have loved doing that. He could have voiced him. But there was that. So that was definitely the most show that I was really pissed off got shafted in the long run. First to get shafted where we don't actually get the 3rd season, and for the longest time we were left on a cliffhanger for Season 2 because it was on ABC and like the WB. It was on like one of those regular cable channels for the longest time, but we only had 2 seasons. And there was a joke in the end of Season 2 where they're like, oh, the ABCs have turned on us, and that was a shot at the network for ditching their ass, which, honestly, that was a bad call. But, that's the one show, definitely. And that's why, sorry it's like a long answer, but I wanted to explain why I'm pissed about that. Better than just saying, oh, look, it built up over 3 seasons with one crappy season that ended on a cliffhanger. No, I mean, that's what pisses me off. I mean, I could have said alphas, but I hated alphas. I could have said, there's like a few other shows. Devil's a Part-Timer, that's hasn't gotten a second season yet. That needs one. There's just so many of them that definitely make my top 10 list, but Reboot is always at the top of my list because it's a show that got shafted by the studio that was making it, got shafted with a reboot, and it sucked ass when it got rebooted, and it just killed off anything of fun that it had. I mean, there are shows that get canceled. I get a little pissed off because it's something that I really like. There was a show called Zix that I thought was really cool. There was a show that was on Nickelodeon, 100 Deeds for Eddie McDowell, that only lasted 1 or 2 seasons, which I can understand why. There's no way in hell you're going to get a dog on there. The ratings were plummeting like crazy, and I get that. But there's a lot of shows that I kind of liked, and I thought, hey, this would be really cool. And the show sucks now. Okay. And it's been canceled without any proper ending. Okay, that makes sense. I'm not happy about it, but Reboot takes the top prize for me, hands down. Any anime series you could think of that never got a satisfying conclusion, that ends on a massive cliffhanger with no resolution at all, number 2 and lower on my list, even in the top 10. Reboot is always at number 1 on my list of shows that got shafted just got shafted. Never got a satisfying ending and just ends on a fucking cliffhanger. Number 1 on my list. The satisfying endings or not, 2 down. Anything else is 2 down. Reboot is number 1. Nothing's going to beat Reboot. This is a show that was really good, shafted, and screwed. That's simple. Okay, number 5. Wow, number 4 really did go on for a while. I apologize for that. Number 5. Now that we have managed to make it through 2020, do we actually still have hope for 2021? I have no clue. I can literally... I mean, I didn't want to actually combine that with question 3 because it is technically a separate question, but they're both sort of the same, and honestly, I have no idea. If you want to think of it this way, you always have hope, because Pandora's box, hope was the last thing that remained. Because Pandora was given a box, she opened the box, released all the evil upon the world, and closed the box before hope could be destroyed. So basically, no, I don't know if we still have hope or not. I would assume yes, but I am not. With everything that's going on, both with me and other people, I want to say no, but at the same time, I'm constantly told I need to think positive, so yes. So my answer is a solid I don't know. I'm literally going to stand on the fence on this one. I don't know. I honestly don't. Favorite season or episode of Power Rangers? Ooh, boy. Okay. I got one for both, actually. It's kind of early ones, but there are some later ones. So, favorite season of Power Rangers. Number 1 is a tie between Mighty Morphin Season 3 and Power Rangers Zeo for me. I love Power Rangers Zeo, and I love Season 3 of Power Rangers. They're both my favorites. Season 3 was the final season with the Mighty Morphin suits because it was starting to get expensive. They were no longer using actual footage from the Sentai. They were just using new footage they were shooting in America. It was costing too much money, so then they changed over to Zeo. Zeo was a kick-ass season. I loved it. Zeo was the season that definitely brought a lot of stuff to the table that you could have enjoyed and made a lot of good efforts. Of course, we also have the main debacle with Power Rangers Zeo is how it ended, where, they took down the Machine Empire, now what? They have the Zeo powers. It's the strongest powers they're ever going to get. Let's just keep getting stronger and stronger with time. And then we go into Turbo, which was just a total shit show of a season, but then again, it wasn't well received as Car Ranger in Japan either, because that was a parody of Turbo Ranger in Japan, and Turbo Ranger was a previous Sentai series. That was years before Car Ranger ever existed, and both sucked, if you want my honest opinion. So, there is that. As far as favorite episode, definitely Master Vile and the Metallic Armor Parts 1, 2, and 3. They are my favorite episodes by far. That's when Rita's father, Master Vile, pops down onto Earth from the M51 galaxy, and he is pissed. First off, he's mad that Rita married Zed. He doesn't like Zed at all. Then he's royally pissed because she's yet to take over this puny little planet called Earth. He thinks that his daughter's just screwing up down there, and that's the whole end of it. He goes down there, basically takes the Rangers' powers, recaptures Ninjor after Rito dropped Ninjor and he's able to get out. He recaptures Ninjor, takes most of the Rangers' powers, has a plan to get the Zeo crystal that's underneath the freaking moon, which ties in then to the next season of Zeo, and then manages to not only give the Rangers a massive run for their money as far as a fight, he literally is one step away from whooping their ass. He captured their Megazords, for God's sake. He took the Falcon Zord hostage, which Tommy and Catherine got back. He took the Zords captive after linking his Globber monster to Ninjor, and Ninjor wasn't able to fight back because he was in chains. So every damage that the Rangers did to Globber, they were doing to Ninjor. And if you've ever seen Kaku Ranger, it's a similar 3-part episode where Ninja Man gets captured, and the same thing happens, only in this case, it's, what the hell was the guy's name? Was it Doramu or something? I can't even think of what the name of what his name was in Japan. But that's gonna bug. What the hell was his name? Granduru? No. Dora. I don't know. But he was the emperor of the yokai. He was basically the high up one. And the whole series for Kaku Ranger ended where they had to just push him back into the gate and seal it up. They couldn't, if they so much as struck him even once, they would release all the evils back into the world, and hatred would spread everywhere. And that's what his plan was. He was goading them into attacking him, and it wouldn't work. So that was that. But as far as Power Rangers, I like their adaptation of that 3-part episode a lot better than the actual 3-part episode. Because Power Rangers did it a lot better, where basically the Shogun Megazord gets its ass whooped, the Ninja Megazord gets its ass whooped, the Falcon Zord's down on the ground, Globber's whooping their ass and taking names. The Power Rangers are basically stuck between a rock and a hard place, and Master Vile is literally one step away from taking over the entire world. And he does so just knowing that he's this close to victory, decides to throw an early celebration and has a party. And it's one of the best moments in the show. He's literally having a party on Earth at the Juice Center where he's basically celebrating the fact that he's conquered the Earth. That's honestly the best part. And the Zords are off at the N51 Galaxy. It's just, oh man, it was a good 3-part episode, and I do love that. A close second is David Yost's final episode in Power Rangers Zeo. Well, that's actually not even his final episode. It's Billy's final episode. Yost had already left the series by then. You can Google why. I'm not going to get into it here. But basically, Billy was getting older because in Season 3, near the end of it, Master Vile's final plan, and because they had to burn through the Kaku Ranger suit footage that they had, they had to. They didn't have a choice. The Rangers used their Ninjetti power coins to power a machine which returned Billy back to his regular age. Before they could use it on themselves, though, like the other 5 Rangers, the power coins were destroyed by Rita and Zed, thus ending the Power Rangers, effectively ending them. Which is why they had to hunt down the Zeo Crystal. They needed it to both reverse the time reversal, which Master Vile had done by changing and turning back time, and to give the Rangers new powers. They needed powers to fight the forces of evil. So Billy, who's now older, was able to do more hands-on stuff at the power chamber, or the command center at that time, and he's helping them out, as the Alien Rangers did most of the fighting. This was so that they could burn through, like I said, the Kaku Ranger footage, and there was that. But in Rangers of Two Worlds, which was in Power Rangers Zeo, Billy's aging rapidly. He's gone from being an adult now to a massively old man, and he's rapidly aging to the point where he's liable to be dead in like a couple days. So they're trying their best to scramble to figure out the best way to cure him, try to find something to help him, but they got nothing, nada, and zip. And I will admit, the actor that they got to play Old Billy does a really good job of conveying how, he's becoming frail and elderly. And it's one of my favorite episodes because it shows how the Rangers did not even consider Rita and Zed a threat anymore, because when they created a monster out of Catherine's homemade purse that she made, They literally went into battle with the regular Zeo Megazord. Now, okay, I know that there was a special over in Japan that combined Kaku Ranger and O Ranger, which is where they got the footage from, but it's still just ironic to see that the Rangers, if you'd only grew up watching Power Rangers and not the Sentai, it's ironically funny to see the Rangers going into battle with now their weakest Megazord. The Super Zeozords are their strongest weapon in this case, and they literally are not escalating this fight with Rita and Zed because they know they're not a threat. Their threat's the Machine Empire, and Rita and Zed are just a nuisance. So because the monster's giant, they're abiding by Zordon's credo of do not escalate a fight unless they force you. Well, okay, we're going into a Megazord, but we're not going to take the powerful Megazord. We're going to take the weaker Megazord and go that route. And they still weren't able to defeat it because it absorbed energy, which was funny in a way. It really was. Then both Rita's monster and Mondo's monster combined. The Alien Rangers merged forces with the Power Rangers, with the Zeo Rangers, basically. And Billy ended up having to leave Earth and live on Aquitar for the rest of his life because he needed treatment from their Fountain of Youth. That's literally where that episode ends. And that was one of my favorites. It was like early ones. Newer stuff, might say, I like a couple episodes in Jungle Fury. I kind of like Jungle Fury as a whole, actually, because I thought Jungle Karma Pizza was really cool idea for a name. So I do kind of like Jungle Fury. But then again, like Kung Fu stuff is sort of my little like guilty pleasure. I do like watching that. I've watched a lot of clips of Ip Man, so that should tell you something. But there is that. So like Jungle Fury is like a close. I want to say like a close third because I do want to. Because like I said, number one is literally Mighty Morphin Season 3 and Zeo, so that's sort of a 1 and 2, but they're both number one. Number 3, I'd probably have to give to Jungle Fury, and this could change too over time, but that's sort of how it goes. But as far as favorite episodes, old school, Master Violet Metallic Armor, number 1. It's basically those 3 episodes are my all-time favorite, and Rangers of Two Worlds. They're both my favorites. They honestly are. So, yeah. Favorite season of Digimon? Oh, Frontier, actually. I do like the one when that would be season 4 for us here in the U.S. Because Data Squad was 5, and then Fusion, which got shafted royally, was number 6, if you think about it. I liked Digimon. It was Frontier. It was Frontier over in Japan. But it'd be season 4 for us. I liked that one. Season 1 was okay. That was the one with Tai, Matt, Sora, Izzy, Mimi, Joe, TK, and then Kari. Season 2, we were introduced to Davis, Yoli, and Cody, with Kari and TK reprising their roles now older. Which, season 2 wasn't bad, but honestly, definitely dipped way too far down in the later half. And you could just tell it just started to lose quality over its writing and everything else. They were trying too hard, in my opinion, to link too much stuff together. Season 3 was good, but honestly, if you only watched it because the card game was popular at the time, that's literally all it was. The card game was popular at the time, nothing more. As for season 4, that was my favorite. That's the one where they had the Digivice that allowed them to, Fusion Evolution and Spirit Evolve, stuff like that. I loved that because they became the Digimon in that one. It wasn't a full-on, now we have a Digimon partner. It's we're facing the troubles ourselves, whereas we're not sending them off in the battle hoping that they're going to come back alive. And Season 3, the later half of it, kind of delved into this with the Biomerge Digivolution, which I thought was pretty cool because we got Gallantmon, Mega Gargamon, Sakuyamon, and Justimon, which were really cool characters in their own right. But then when we had Season 4 and we just had this flat out 100% from the start, you fused with the Digimon spirit, that was beautiful. I love that. And a lot of people hate that one, but I actually liked it. The theme song was good, the setting was good, the story was good. It was one of those shows that it knew the right balance to keep you both interested in the story and breaking up the parts of the story so that you weren't bogged down by it, like you weren't feeling the weight of the story they had like a small episode, like, okay, here's 3 episodes where we had to try to recapture their spirits that were separated because of the one dark, I don't want to say Dark Master, the one evil Digimon took control, or basically ate them and took most of them. So it's basically, now we're gonna recapture them, but there was like some moments of levity in them, so it wasn't like a full-on, okay, we have to really capture these spirits, we can't just hold them back and do nothing. It's like, it wasn't every single episode's dedicated solely to that. We had like 1 or 2 episodes of levity mixed in to kind of break up the monotony a bit. There were episodes like later on when they took on the Royal Knights, where it wasn't like every episode they're taking on the Royal Knights. It was, oh look, here, we're taking on the Royal Knights in this one, and like the next episode they might see them transform and then run away because they know, okay, we're no match against them. It's sort of like the Wargreymon Metal Garurumon thing from season 1, where they took down Venom Myotismon, and when they took on the Dark Masters, they were getting their asses whooped, because the Dark Masters were fully evolved mega levels that had time, were used to their powers, had experience, versus Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon, which were fresh mega evolutions that had no experience in regulating their power. They used everything up at one time, and that was it. So it was something similar to that, where it's like, look, we're combining all 10 of the spirits together. You get some, I get some, we transform into our, like ancient spirit evolution forms, and boom, we take them on. And we're leaving the others exposed here. We're leaving the other 4 at the time exposed, and hopefully we can, take them on and we can beat them. And eventually they realize, okay, we have to get stronger, and they did over time throughout their battles by experience. Plus, it also didn't help that the bad guys were fucking up. Dynasmon and Crusadermon were royally screwing up, so that was good too. But yeah, I love season 4. Season 4 of Digimon Frontier. I love that one. That's one of my favorites. Data Squad sucked. I will openly admit that, because it took the formula away. Sorry, this fell down on me here. It took the formula that we had just gotten from Frontier and flushed it right down the toilet. Because it's like, oh no, no, that sucks for an idea. No, we're not going to do that again. Okay, fans didn't like that. I did. Fans didn't like that. Okay. So they got rid of that entirely and went back to the partner Digimon, and I liked the DNA charge thing for it. That was pretty cool, but honestly, that was about the only good thing in that. And it didn't last. The novelty of it wore off kind of fast. And I mean kind of fast. It wore off. Then you had the one character's father is Banto Leomon in a way, and no. And then you had Digimon Fusion, which, for those of you that only ever saw the English version, we only got like 3 episodes of it before Nickelodeon killed it off of their network. If you saw any clips on YouTube, it was a miracle. But that was one that didn't get to last very long. I would have loved... I did like Appymon. Digimon was like Appymon. I think it was Appymon or Appyworld or something. Digimon Appy something. I liked that one, but I only ever saw clips of it because it was a Japan-only one. And now we have Digimon Adventure 2020, which isn't bad. It's definitely a combination of seasons 1 and 2, so Digimon Adventure 01 and 02. It's not bad, but it's only like 30-some episodes in, so it's a little early yet for me to say whether or not it's God tier level or it's just the same level as them. I don't know, but no. Digimon Frontier for me is always going to be my favorite. I love that one. And speaking of Digimon, thoughts on the new Digimon series? Yeah, okay, so Digimon 2020, or Digimon Adventure 2020 came out last year. Like I just said, we're like 30-some episodes into it. It's not a bad series, I want to say. It's got its fair share of issues right now. Like, we have some season, like, Adventure 02 Digimon are showing up. Like, we just got Pegasusmon I think it was like an episode ago. Yeah, I think it was an episode ago. We got Pegasusmon, who wasn't supposed to show up until, 02, because in Digimon Adventure 01, the highest form that Patamon got was Magna Angemon, but in this one, apparently Patamon doesn't have the ability to constantly Digivolve into Angemon. which is weird in a way, because that's literally its fucking evolution line, but sure, whatever. But, whatever the writers want to go with. I never liked Patamon in the first place. Anjumon, Magna Anjumon, and Seraphimon were really cool Digimon. I never liked Patamon. I was always wondering how this little guinea pig with bat wings on its head turned into that. I could never figure that out. I was like, how does this turn into that? I could never figure that out. I can never figure that one out. I mean, that's also going with how does Gatomon digivolve into Anjuwoman? I never got that. Or better yet, like in the movie, how did Anjuwoman digivolve into this dragon? I don't get that either. And it's also kind of cool that Kari's the one that gets the champion level Digimon too, because Gatomon's champion level, and Salomon's her rookie level. So it's actually kind of cool that she gets the champion level. But yeah, it's taking stuff from like season 2 and mixing it in with season 1. We also got Dark Knightmon, which if you have ever seen Digimon, we did not know Dark Knightmon existed. At least I didn't until Digimon Fusion. That was one of the main villains in Digimon Fusion. I didn't know that. I honest to God didn't know that. And I know Digimon Fusion, I think that was up on Vortex before they shut down for the we're no longer doing Saturday morning cartoons either. So I know I watched a lot of it on there. I keep going Nickelodeon because Nickelodeon was the first one that had it up, or at least they were one of the first ones, and then they killed it off. And with Vortex, it was you didn't get new episodes every single week. You were lucky if you got a new episode like once or twice a month. But yeah, that was the Digimon that we got in Fusion. He was Dark Knightmon, and Dark Knightmon's a royal badass. This thing is powerful. I swear to God, it's like a hybrid mega level in a way. Like it's got the powers of a mega level, but it's not a mega level. But I don't know. But we finally did get Wargreymon, which, first off, I love the new evolution for Wargreymon. I want to stress that. I love that new evolution. Goes from Metal Greymon right into Wargreymon. No more of this warp digivolution shit. I love that. No more warp Shinkai. It just digivolves right from Metal Greymon. So you literally need to go up the chain of succession here. But we also got the strange new alternate modes for the ultimates, like Sagittarius mode for Wargreymon, which honestly works. I want to stress that. That one works for him. It gives him little metal wings out of his back. That works for him because I always felt that was the one weakness that Wargreymon had, was that he could not jump up high enough to handle something that was flying. Now he can. He can fly. And Metal Greymon got Altarius mode, basically this long-ass sword, blaster arm thing that pops out of his other arm. That's actually pretty cool. I never understood why Metal Greymon only had the one giant metal claw that was usually like on the left arm. I never understood that. I'm like, why? Why not both of them being metal? I mean, you have the metal chest plate here that has the Giga Blaster. Why not two metal arms? And I love that he gets that. I don't know if there's any other alternate modes or that I've seen. Those are the only two that I've seen. I think those are the only two that many fans have seen. But I am liking the way that Season 2's taken its story. As we have Kari, she's kind of going to the dark side. We're getting Tailmon, which is Gatomon, for those of us that live in the English-speaking world of, not Japan. I was going to say America. For those of us that live here in the U.S., it's Gatomon. Over in Japan, it's Tailmon. But, yeah, so I actually do like Digimon Adventure 2020. I saw one episode. That was when we had the Neo Devimon episode. Or, yeah, it was Neo Devimon. When he digivolved into that ultimate, it was Megaform. So Megaform. And he was just basically like kicking ass and taking names. And Agumon had kind of virus digivolved into an alternate Megaform that was Machinedramon. If you actually looked at that was Machinedramon. And I'm like, holy shit. So that kind of confirms, I think, one of the Digimon evolution theories that somebody had put out years ago. I was like, that's pretty damn cool. But, yeah, I do kind of like this new season of Digimon. This is definitely a good season. Theme song, not too fond of, honestly, but they can't all be winners. Look, I'll take it. It's not bad. You know, we've had a long line of decent shows. Appimon was about the best out of the Japanese ones. Fusion was good, but I hate to say it this way. You gotta watch the Japanese Digimon Fusion or X-Cross, not the American version. The American version bastardizes it badly. Japanese version, boom, baby, that's beautiful. American version bastardizes it. But we also have we had Appimon. Appimon was good. If you ever pull up clips of that, it was like CGI Digimon. That was a good season because they couldn't stay transformed for long. And I do kind of like how they did some of the episodes. I remember seeing some of the cliffhangers. Wargreymon showed up in that one, which was really cool seeing him in CGI. I thought that was really cool. And now we have Wargreymon now in this one, and holy shit, can he kick ass and take names. He shows up, blows through the freaking monsters in its debut episode with one shot of the Terra Force. That was great. Or Gaia Force. Well, Gaia Force Japan, Terra Force here. But oh god, I love that one. Love the new Digimon series. I'm loving it. It's like very little to minuscule nitpicks, but I'm loving it. I really am. Okay, so who's your favorite rock/pop band of the 60s up to the 90s? Beatles, Beach Boys, or other? Not a fan of 60s music, actually, so I can safely say nothing from the 60s. As far as the 70s, I vaguely remember hearing some of that when my mom and I would listen to the oldie station when I was growing up. They played 60s, 70s, and 80s. I could not discern which was which. I know I have like a couple doo-wop CDs, but that's about it. And I think those were the 70s, I think. Like 60s or 70s. But I'm not a huge fan of 60s music. I'm not a huge fan of the 70s. So both of those right there, I can tell you I have no favorites whatsoever. As far as like the 80s go, so I'm definitely not a big fan of the Beatles. I can definitely tell you that. I have gotten shit for that over the years, but I will stand my ground. I'm not a fan of the Beatles. I'm not. A couple of their songs I can tolerate, but not a lot of them. The Help song's about the one I like the most. That's about it. Beach Boys, yes. I do actually like the Beach Boys. My one teacher I was in 10th grade, actually made a copy of the CD that he had of the Beach Boys, because I couldn't find it. And it was their greatest hits because it had Kokomo. It's one of my favorite Beach Boys songs. It's really good. I love that song. And I scoured every store all over the freaking area trying to find it. And I saw it. He goes, "Oh, it's up at Target." So that weekend, I go up to Target, where I live in. At that point, Target was like a good 20-mile drive. My mom took me, and they were sold out. And I was pissed. Because then he's like, well, if you bring in a blank CD, I'll burn you a copy that I have since you really can't find it. Because I didn't have access to the internet back then other than in school. None of my family was going to order it for me because they weren't too huge fans of the Beach Boys. My mom likes some of their songs, but I loved Kokomo. It's one of my favorite songs. I heard it when I saw Muppet Treasure Island, and I was like, I fell in love with the song. I loved it. So, yeah, definitely the Beach Boys. 100%. Beach Boys is one of my favorite groups from the 80s. And I think they were probably even before the 80s, but I just love Kokomo that much. So, Beach Boys, definitely. Other groups from the 80s. I like Styx. I think Styx was in the 80s. I do like Styx. They're a good group. Mr. Roboto. Too Much Time on My Hands. There's a whole bunch. I actually got a Styx CD that I got at FYE like a long time, like back when I was in tech school. I bought it for I think it was like $1 or $2. It was the best investment I ever made, and I was listening to it. I love Styx. I love Mr. Roboto. Is one of my favorite songs. There's a bunch of other ones. I'm not a big fan of Michael Jackson. There's a couple songs that I have his that I like. Thriller. Smooth Criminal, those are like the two that I like the most. Crap, there's a bunch from the 80s music I basically like. Anything from the 80s I'm pretty much a fan of, basically. Up to the 90s. 90s, I'm going to say it, I'm going to get shit for it, I know, but I was a fan of Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Britney Spears, Eiffel 65. I like the Blue Abadi song. They're the blues song, basically. There's that. I think Uncle Cracker was he in the 90s? I think Uncle Cracker was in the 90s. I kind of liked his one song that he did. 90s music is sort of like a hit and miss for me, but I grew up on 90s music, so I can say 90s, like anything from the 90s I'll pretty much listen to. I don't care. But 80s, 90s definitely. Anything older than that, we're kind of we're tiptoeing through that one. But definitely 80s, 90s, love. I'll pretty much listen to anything from the 80s and the 90s. So I can't narrow down like a favorite pop rock group from there because, like I said, anything from that era, from those two eras, I'm definitely listening to. Like the 80s and the 90s. I don't care. I'm listening to it. I'll listen to. I mean, that's the radio station I listen to now. They play stuff from the 80s and the 90s. So I love that music. So that's where I'm at with that. So. Okay, and finally, final question. Actually, 55 minutes. Okay, so much for this being a short Q&A. I'm almost an hour into this. What are your favorite videos you've seen on YouTube? There's a lot. There's a lot. I don't think I can narrow down an exact one though. There's like videos where somebody's did like commentary on a video game and they made me laugh my ass off. There's videos where somebody did a DIY project. Like DIY Perks did one, taking an old laptop and turning it into a desktop PC or a media PC, which is really cool. If you get a chance, I'd really recommend checking out his channel. It's kind of cool. He does a lot of neat little tips on there. There's Larry Bundy Jr.'s channel with his fact hunt videos. Those I find funny, especially for the fact that Watch Mojo stole some of his shit, not once but twice, for their videos, and he caught their ass. I thought the one was hilarious. And they were like, well, next time, make sure you put factual information in your videos. And it's like, yeah, because they do research. Yeah, they do research. They're theft. Research is very important to them. Yeah. No, I do remember that. So yeah, some of his channels are pretty cool. There's a couple channels on there that I do watch, some different videos that they put up. So it's like kind of hard to narrow it down. It just depends on like whatever really makes me laugh. Like I'm pounding my hand on the table or I'm pounding my hand on my leg, laughing hysterically. The fact that I have to pause the video, stop from laughing, take a really deep breath so I don't die of laughter, because I can go on for a while. I was doing that earlier today. I was laughing pretty hard at a couple things today. I was watching some Jacksepticeye videos where he, Mark, Wade, and Bob were playing golf a couple years ago, and I was laughing my ass off pretty good at that because apparently Wade couldn't get the ball to go up the thing and stuff like that. There's like a lot of those videos I watched, like the Monopoly ones that Mark, Bob, and Wade did. There was the farming simulator ones, though. I think that was kind of take the cake for me for the best that I saw. Farm simulator that Mark, Bob, and Wade, Markiplier, Micegrim, and Lord Minion did. Those are pretty funny. I know Charlie's pretty good over his channel, Penguin Zero. It's like Penguin Zero, I think it is. Disguised Toast videos are kind of cool, but I was watching his. I was watching a lot of his stuff during the holidays, and then when my mom and I were watching and binge watching Eureka, we took a month off of his stuff because, well, we were binge watching Eureka because I didn't know how long that was going to be up on Roku, and we wanted to at least watch that before anything bad happened with us here. So, we wanted to at least get that under our belts and watch that whole thing, and I do like that show. But yeah, as far as like my favorite videos that I've seen on YouTube, there's too many to list. Far too many. I have watched YouTube videos pretty much since 2000, and I want to say 7 or 8. I have watched YouTube videos because definitely at least 2008, because I took one of the classes I had to take at tech school was a video class, and the teacher got special permission from the school because the school had YouTube blocked by their IP address. And he's like, look, he goes, I want them to kind of see like amateur video making, goes, and they can learn a lot of stuff. And there he goes, can you unblock it? Just monitor what they watch. And they were like, yeah, sure, not a problem. So, of course, my buddy and I we're watching like, oh look, here's the trailer for this movie we want to go see. Well, it technically fell into, stuff that we could look into and break down professionally. So it still technically works. Like, oh look, we want to get this movie after class. Now we want to go over to the video store and get this movie after class. So of course, we're watching that, and the teacher's like, okay, so how would you break down this? I think, well, that's CGI, that's CGI, that's obviously them doing something. And it was just the two of us in the class along with the teacher, so it's like, okay, this wasn't that bad of a thing. But at the end of the day, it was basically, yeah, we just kind of hit this, peak of, okay, we kind of know what we're not going to be able to do, but we still get to watch YouTube, so we're fine with it. And we would watch it, try to get like ideas on how to improve our own stuff down the road. I mean, I still have some of the videos that we did in that class too. Not all of them, but I have at least the final project yet. So those are pretty cool. But yeah, so at least since like 2008, definitely I've been watching YouTube videos. Well, at least I just want to say at least 2008, because when I was surfing the internet and doing Wi-Fi hotspots for internet access to check my email and that, I would still like check out a YouTube video every now and then if I had a chance or had like 30 minutes to kill. I would check out a YouTube video. So yeah, I want to say definitely at least 2008 onwards. So a good at least 8 years that let me rephrase that. At least a good 12 years I've been doing YouTube. So yeah, I can't narrow down like my all-time favorite video or even videos. There's like a lot of them to list. It's like whatever entertains me, whatever makes me happy. I mean, I have a liked video list, and it's basically if anything tickles my fancy, it goes right into that liked video list. And I have that private for a reason, because I don't need people looking at that going, "Oh, you like this stuff, huh? Yeah, I like this kind of. Yes, I like this amateurish crap. Yes, this is kind of funny to me." Or, yeah, I kind of find this hilarious. And it's, somebody doing like a DIY, make your own thing here. Yeah, I kind of find this fun. I think this YouTuber's kind of entertaining. It's basically like stuff that tickles my fancy that I kind of like, and I just add it to my like videos list. So that's like over 1,000 some videos and growing by the day. Some of them have been deleted over time, and I go through and I remove the deleted ones. I take the ones that went private, so I have to go through and basically trim the verge, as Gandalf would say. But yeah, but either way, definitely is way too many to count. Way too many. All right, and that's it for the January Q&A video. So, like I said, I'm probably going to be doing a video in, I want to say, like the next couple days. I know this month ends on Sunday. This month ends on Sunday, doesn't it? Yeah, I think it does. Shit, it does. It does. Yeah, holy crap. Holy shit, we're almost done with January. We've less than 4 days to go. Holy shit. Yeah, I'll probably do another video, probably before then. I'll probably record it sometime, because it'll be like a channel update video explaining, like, a lot of why I wasn't putting videos up a lot this month other than the podcast and the one rant video that I did. I'll explain it in there. I don't have a date yet if I want to do the next Q&A or not, because I only had, like, 10 questions this time. I thought maybe I might take a break from the Q&A for February. I don't know. Depends on how things are going to go here. And like I said, I'll explain that in the video. But basically, I'll let everybody know for the next Q&A video, date, and everything else. So you know the drill. Just keep your eyes peeled. I'll put it up on the discussion section. I'll mention it on Twitter and Facebook under the Web Designer 18 Facebook page, and on my Twitter, @OtakuRoads. So feel free to check those out. And until next time, thanks everybody for hanging out with me for the last, holy shit, over an hour. Holy crap, it's an hour and 3 minutes long. Well, that's going to be a huge file. It's going to be a big file. Thank you everybody for hanging out with me here on the Web Designer 18 YouTube channel. And until next time, I'm Andrew Rhodes, and I'll catch you later. Bye. See ya.